What's going on, people, and welcome back to Total Oz Spurs. And sorry, we have been a bit AWOL these past couple of days. I've been sick myself, so just after that performance, just got sick. Now, all in all, this is the first video after the NLD, and disgraceful, to be honest. I think we arrived for about 20 minutes in that game. But even then, I think that was just because Arsenal took their foot off the fucking accelerator in the second half. So Arsenal 2, Tottenham 0, as everyone knows. We were destroyed in the first half. Honestly, people can sit there and say that stats this, stats that. I'm hearing people say we made more tackles, we had more passes, this and that. But at the end of the day, you don't need stats. You don't need XG or anything like that. You can see from what you saw, Arsenal all over us. Sessegnon got absolutely ripped apart by Saka. The midfield was dominant through the whole game from Arsenal, and they finished the shots they needed to do. Now, before we get onto the goals, I'll get onto the lineup. Before the game, I predicted a 3-2. I honestly thought that maybe, just maybe, being at this whole, we never lose at home to Arsenal, I thought maybe, we could pull something off, but I was kidding myself. This team isn't reliable at the moment. But the formation itself, for me, really put down an indication of how this game was going to go. Lloris in goal. Don't even want to start on him yet. I'll get through to him soon. With the back three of Dyer, Romero, and Lenglet. I think that's our strongest back three. Didn't think they did that bad the whole game. Really, not many mistakes. Well, apart from Romero, he was a red card waiting to happen. I don't know how he didn't get sent off. Dived into tackles, could have snapped some ankles. It's one thing about him. He's just so rash at times. He's just like another Serge. And that's the funny thing. Some of us here were calling in for Serge to come back. Can you imagine those two on the right-hand side? Be 2 red cards in one game. Wingers of Sessegnon and Doherty. Now, I understood why Sess, the pace to deal with Saka. Perisic doesn't have that much pace, but Perisic is our most creative assisted player this season. So I don't understand why he wasn't playing. He's our best left wing back. I don't think Sess is that much better than Perisic at defending. You can clearly see that Saka had Sessegnon on toast every single time. His yellow card was because he couldn't deal with Saka anymore, so he just clattered into the back of him. And I just don't understand why Conte started him, especially in one of our biggest games. The one of the games that we had to win to stop the rivals from really putting their foot down on that title. It's going to be a big climb back for us just to get into the top 4. Midfield of Højbjerg and Sarr. Now, I don't know why we didn't start Basuma, but I also don't know why we didn't go in midfield 3. Sarr did really well, to be honest. I thought Højbjerg was the more erratic, the one that had the worst performance out of the two. I think, Sarr gave himself a good little rap for the situation he was put in. Hostile environment, North London derby against your biggest rivals, to stop them from really stamping down on the title. Like, for me, it's a stupid game to chuck him into. If this was a no game at the end of the season where it didn't matter if we win, lose, or draw, then fair enough. But not on an NLD when it's really important. For me, it's one of the most important, apart from last year, try to fight for top 4. Because none of us want to see Arsenal win the title. I thought, again, Højbjerg had a pretty average game. I've been, on Højbjerg this year a fair bit because I feel like his performances aren't up to scratch. Maybe because he's been overplayed. Has played nearly every game for us, apart from when he's been injured or he's been out for Denmark. He is an engine. He does work hard, but I really, really think that we need a bit of rotation and maybe even Put Benteng Coronel with Sarr because Sarr looks leaps and bounds above Basuma at the moment, but I'll get on to Basuma a bit later. And then we go to the front three, and there's one in particular we need to talk about, and that's our boy Sonny. He needs to be dropped. Not because I don't think he has it anymore. I just think he needs to be dropped. Something needs to happen because keeping him in there, waiting for him, it's not going to work. I honestly think that we would have been better going a 5-3-2 with the way Sonny's playing, because that extra person in midfield would really help us, handle Odegaard, Partey, and Xhaka, and then the way Kulu and Kane, Kane was probably one of our better players with Sarr, and Kulu was, probably our second best player on the pitch, if not the best. Once again, the guy's not even fully fit yet, and he's still showing more than what Son has the whole season in one game. So, apart from Leicester, Son's really given us nothing. I did say last week that Son was starting to show a bit of hunger, but he just went into his show again against Arsenal, and we can't have that. Everyone started him because he has a good record against Arsenal, but lately, this season is not his season. I'm hoping it's just a blip. I don't want him to go, but poor from Sonny. Bringing Richarlison on from 70th minute was a good decision. I feel like Richarlison did more than what Son did. He showed a bit more heart, a bit more intent, showed a bit of fire. He knew how, at the end with Ramsdale before that stupid fan kicked him in the back, it was firing up, going off, and that's the thing. He's got a lot of shithousery in him, and we need that passion in these North London derbies, and it seemed like the team didn't have it. And then, Hill couldn't do much. Too late. The changes were too late. The changes should have happened at halftime. For me, it should have been, I think, Son off, Basuma on, and then Sessegnon off, Perisic on. And if, you really want to go harsh, you take off Lenglet or Dyer, and you put Davies and play Davies as left back, push Perisic up as the left wing, and then have midfield 4-3-3, because that was the only way we were going to ever compete with Arsenal. They had us on toast in the middle. The triangles they were showing was disgusting. The movement of the ball, the pace, the trust in each other too, the touch and passes, to know the players there, to trust them. And Eddie Nketiah, he didn't do anything. But the fact that, he still came short, he still was back defending, showing heart for the team. We weren't doing that all over the park. And I do feel like this is where questions need to be asked of Conte. But before that, I'll get on to Lloris. This guy's got to be dropped. He's got to be dropped. I've watched a few YouTube channels and discussions about Lloris, and people say, percentage-wise, stats, Lloris is a way better goalkeeper than Fraser Forster. But the difference is Lloris has made too many mistakes this season. He's got the most mistakes leading to goals out of anyone in the whole league. He just keeps making mistake after mistake. And he's been a great servant of the club. He's been a great captain. But I think his time's up. I think his ability to compete at the highest level is gone. With France, they play a different system. He wasn't that great for France, really, from what you saw. But, he's still a great shot stopper. But it's not every second game. It's not once every fucking 10 games he has a blooper now. It's one every 2 games he has a blooper. He may have an amazing match and shot stop 1 million goals, and then the next game he's fucking letting 3 goals in. That shot against Saka should never have happened. I don't know why he hit it into the net. And for me, he'll be dropped. And there's one instance I want to bring up. And this is something that goes out to all those people that sit there and say, what can Fraser Forster do that Lloris can't? There's a team called Arsenal who had Bernd Leno in goal, was one of the best goalkeepers in the year he debuted. Second season, they bought Ramsdale. Young prodigy, been relegated 3 times. Everyone said he's cursed. 40 mil they paid for him, sat on the bench. Bernd Leno had about, 10 to 12 games? Not even, I think it was like 5 to 6 games. Wasn't performing. Mikel Arteta gambled with Ramsdale, he shone for like 10, 11 games, and then he kind of drifted off. He switched it back to Burton Leno. He had a shocker, went back to Ramsdale, and Ramsdale has been there ever since. Don't tell me that we can't try our backup goalkeeper. Foster's younger. He has bounds and bounds of experience in the Scottish and Premier League. And we bought him for a reason. I know it was because he was cheap. But at the end of the day, he still is a half-decent goalkeeper. And I'm sure he can't do any worse than what Lloris is doing. So for me, I feel like Foster needs to have a run of games. Lloris needs to be benched. I don't know if it's because he's a bit too much on the piss, or if he's just his aging. He's getting into his late 30s, mid to late 30s, and he has been hinting at wanting to go back to France for his the final years of his career. So, for me, I think we need to let him go, get a young prodigy goalkeeper in. Whether it's Fraser Foster next year until the goalkeeper is up to scratch, and then like they did with Arsenal did with Ramsdale, or if we just straight away put the guy straight in. I know we're looking at Raya. He is actually a decent goalkeeper. He's played decent against us a fair few times, so I'm not opposed to that. He's young and he'd be here for another 10 years. So if that's what we're going to do, then we need to do that in the summer. Now, Conte. Before we go into Levy and Enoch, I think he needs to walk, but I think we need to let go of him too. You may chastise me for this, but he's just not the manager that we need. The board isn't going to do what I need to do to give him what he needs, and we just don't have the team to do what he needs. He needs a team of 13, 14 players that are top of the game, or thereabouts top 50 of their positions. That are going to do what he needs to do and perform. And the difference is our board want young players. They want investment. They want a player they can buy and sell in a few years, make profit. It's all about the business side of things. And for me, Conte needs to walk, not because the fans deserve it, but it's because the fans deserve it. It's a bit of a weird saying now. I think I fucked it up, but the fans deserve to see Conte leave and see the club for what it is. Enoch and Levy have to go. I don't care. You can praise them all they want for the infrastructure. And all they have done is built a business portfolio for themselves. The stadium's not even owned by the club. The stadium's owned by Enoch. So once a new person buys the club, they're going to have to rent the fucking stadium off Enoch, and they're still going to be making money off Tottenham regardless. And that's disgusting to see. It's we need to just get rid of them, all of them, and I'm seeing people say, bring Poch back, and, Poch would be great for a rebuild, but if Levy and Enoch are here, what's the point? If they're not going to give him the money, if they're not going to give him the backing, then what's the point? Poch said he needed a rebuild just after we come second in the league, and they didn't back him. They gave him 18 months of no signings, and for me, Levy out, Enoch out all day has to be done. I felt this way for a while, but it's it's very, very hard to come to terms with it when good stuff does happen, and that's the thing. We can't be flip flops, and we can't at the end of the day we could go on a winning streak and we can make top 2 at the end of the season. Does not fix what's happening now, and we can all see in the transfer window, Levy and Enoch are still the same. They bought a manager like Conte, and they're still acting like they've got young managers like Poch or Graham Potter who need a rebuild, who can work on low budgets. But yeah, I think Conte needs to go for that. But it's also because of his decisions. Tactically, it's quite profound that someone that is rated as one of the top managers in the world does not change his formation. And we've been saying it for weeks and weeks and weeks that there can't be no harm in changing it to a back four. And I know it's not his system, but I remember under Poch, we had a system of a 4-3-3 or a 4-3-2-1. Later on, it went to a narrow, but we had it out wide. And what we did was we had, we had Toby Alderweireld in the middle with Walker and Rose out wide. Then in front of them, we had Dyer and Dele. And then we had Ericsson in front of them with, I think at that point, we might have had like Chadley and Lamella and Kane or Son, playing that kind of role. So 4-2-3-1 roughly. And what we did was in attack, Dyer was slotted into the back in between Vertonghen and Alderweireld, and they would play as a back three in attack. and Walker and Rose would bomb on, and in defence, Dyer would push up and help the midfield out, so he weren't swarmed in the midfield. Now that's kind of like the same system that Conte wants to play, with the three up front and then the wing backs. But what this means is that in defence we have that extra body in the midfield. Then in attack we have the extra bodies on the wings. Now I know we don't have the players to bomb up the wings. Roy was horrible. Doherty's shown nothing. No one seems to want to play Spence. And then on the left side we only have Perisic. So for me, we probably can't even play that system. But if you're going to play a back four, like I said, with the changes in the Arsenal game, you play Davies at left back with Langley, Romero, and Roy probably on the right because that's his actual position, right back. You play Basuma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg in the middle, and then I'd probably play Perisic, Kane, and Kulu because Perisic can actually provide assists, and Son's just way out of form. And if not, you just play Son and then take Son off for Perisic. Then you have a direct swap for Son. You have Richarlison for Kane, and you have Hill for Kulu. That for me is much better. We can control the midfield, and that's our problem. We can't ever seem to get out. We play out from the back, and we can't transition. And just there, for me, as a manager, how Conte is, he really needs to show that he has tactical nous, and he's not. He's just being stubborn, and part of me feels like he doesn't want to be here anymore. Part of me feels like maybe he's just done and he's going, fuck it, I'll just stick with my system until they sack me because I'm going to get fucking half my 20 mil anyway if they sack me now. He's not going to walk because they won't pay him his money. And it's a shitload of money. 10 million over 6 months is a crazy amount to walk away from, even though we have said in the past he doesn't care about money. But it seems like there's kind of a few ways to go about it. But one, it's because of the money he's staying. Two, it's because he actually believes in the project. Or three, this is one that's a bit spiteful, and I don't think he would have done this, but he might be just playing his players just to prove a point to Levy. He might just want to fuck the team so bad and go, you didn't give me what I wanted, and this is what I am going to do to prove to you that it's your fault, and I'm going to turn the fans on you. But what he's doing is he's turning the fans on him as well. And I don't think we deserve a manager like Conte, but we also aren't the right fit as a club, as a model. The past 20 years, it's always been about, paying less and developing players. And Conte's not really developing the players that we have because they aren't at the level that he's used to. Inter Milan in midfield, he had, Barella, Brozovic, comes over here and he has Højbjerg and didn't have Bentancur. He had Winks and Dombele, Lo Celso before he sent him on loan. And that's the thing. He doesn't have the quality of players that he requires. And that's why I don't think it's going to work. And I don't think Levy's going to change his mind. So Conte should walk or Conte should go based on that, but also based on his tactical decisions. It's a great disgrace because if this was Nuno, we would all be jumping on him, telling him to piss off, telling him he wasn't good enough. And I'm probably going to get slated for this, but that's fine. I want what's best for the club. And I'm not saying that for Conte, if we, in a realistic world, if we kept Conte and Levy and Enix splashed out 250 mil to get him the players that he needs just to keep us in the top four and show intent, then that's fine. I'd keep Conte. But the fact that we're not doing it, the fact that we're halfway through the transfer window already and we're still fighting over fucking a few mil for Porro, then apparently out of nowhere we're going to drop fucking 90 mil on Vardiel, it doesn't make any sense. I think this is all just Levy ball, and for that reason, I think Conte should go. But the real nuance of it is Levy and Enix out. I don't know if anybody out there is a Levy in. Please, in the comments, tell me why. You can sit there and say the infrastructure, the training centre. That's fine. That's great. All they've done is build a great business to make us look good. All they've done is Levy's paid, 30 mil for the club. It's now a 4 billion minimum, valued club. So he's going to exponentially increase his money off of, no success. And for me, that's fucking disgraceful. We as fans deserve better. The fans that pay the highest ticket prices in Europe deserve better. The 130,000 that are sitting on the waiting list deserve it to be better. And I'm in Australia, but if I could, I would be there at any protest for Levy out. I've made that trip away to Burnley a few years ago, just before COVID shut down the country. And the away fans deserve better. And that was a cold, rainy night, 1-1, short of a trip, and it's the fans deserve better. And it's time for Levy to go. It's time for Enid to go. And, if they go, Conte should go, because we aren't going to get someone in anytime soon that's going to, within the time that Conte needs to get these players. Going on to tomorrow morning's game, for us, it's tomorrow morning. It could be today for anyone in England. There won't be a live stream. It's during the midweek where a few of us we all have work. So it's very, very hard to do a live stream, a live watch along. But we will be watching it by ourselves, and we will be giving a review. It also goes for the Fulham game, as it's on I'm pretty sure it's on a Tuesday morning for us. Let's just double check that. Yeah, it's Tuesday morning, so we actually might be able to, depending on what happens for a few of us on Monday with the job that we've all got. But if not, we'll let you guys know, and we'll make sure there will be a review. But our next live watch along will most likely be the Preston North End game next Sunday, I think that is. So we'll try and get some content out for you guys. Appreciate if you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit down in the description or our socials, and please comment if you've got anything to come back to what I've said today. Any opinions on the game, on Levy, on Enoch, on Conte, please let me know. And take it easy, guys. And as we always say here at Total War Spurs, stay Spursy.